fellow drone enthusiasts, and of course, as always, a shout out to my friends at the Drone Seekers. Marcus Crawford here, or Idaho Sledhead as I am known otherwise on my YouTube channel. Hey, I've got a little different type of a video made today. We're going to do some flying. Of course, took the Hubsan Zino up today, did all the latest upgrades on it. I had been beta testing the 0.47 update, so I had that already, but I reloaded it when they loaded it on the Hubsan website. Reloaded the flight controller 1.0.47, as well as the latest version of the camera firmware, which I believe is 0.34. So took it out for a little flight. What I was initially going to do today was I had intended to take the Zino and the Mavic 2 and put them up and compare their waypoint missions. DJI just updated the DJI 4 Go app and the software on the Mavic to be able to do waypoint missions. Couldn't do that before. That's something we have on the Zino that the Mavic did not have. And it's kind of interesting. There's some interesting stuff on there. So I thought I would do a video comparing the two and just showing what they could do. However, I had been noticing a lot of videos and comments on the internet on some forums and so forth, and on Facebook that of some pretty serious criticism of the Hubsan Zino. Some of it is absolutely well-founded and absolutely legitimate, and I think others are a pretty severe overreaction and quite frankly somewhat disingenuous. And then also others that people have expectations of the Zino that I don't think are reasonable for a $369 drone. I think a lot of people buy the Zino and they expect it to be a Mavic 2, and it's just not, and it never will be. Does it have some faults? It absolutely does, but I think it is well worth the purchase price. And in fact, mine right here, I got it on their Indiegogo campaign for $299. Do I feel like I got $299 worth? Heck yes. Well worth $299 for this drone. So I want to tick off some of the positive things with this product. You've got a 4K camera with advanced camera controls. No, are there as many controls and so forth as there are on a DJI Mavic? Nope, not gonna be. It has, like I said, waypoints. It has several other intelligent flight modes that for guys like me are pretty important. It is a foldable, portable GPS drone that works and it's a Wi-Fi drone, of course, which limits the range somewhat, but I've had mine out to almost 1 kilometer, which is a long ways. Some of the criticisms are about connection issues. And when I first got mine, the first time I took it out, you know, I've been flying drones for a while, and I've had a number of different DJI products, Phantoms, all the Mavics, including the Air. I've had a Xiaomi Mi drone 4K. You want to talk about a problematic drone? There's one that had a few issues, but still I consider it was a great product for the price. But when I first took mine out, boy, I thought I knew what I was doing, and I really didn't look at the instructions or Hubsan's videos very close. Uh, and yeah, Wi-Fi drone. So yeah, I hooked up Hubsan Wi-Fi on my phone, and of course, you know what that was a disaster. I couldn't hardly control it, and I didn't understand why, and I was disappointed. In fact, I came the closest that I'd ever come to crashing a drone that day. I actually ran it up. The props actually hit a post. The drone didn't crash, but anyway, when I looked into it, I was very disappointed. I got home and I did some due diligence, watched Hubsan's videos, looked at the instructions, looked on the Zino forums, and understood that, hey, I was not operating that drone correctly. So there's things that need to be done. The drone is Wi-Fi via the remote controller, not via your phone. Your phone obviously is hooked up with a cable. There are a number of things you have to do, including the connecting the Wi-Fi within the app, binding the GPS with the drone, and of course compass calibration, etc. All of these are important to have a good flight. The other critical thing with connections is the SD card. You've got to have a U3 card that can be formatted to FAT32, which means that it's got to be a 32 gig card or less. And yeah, I know there's programs that can format bigger cards and all that, so there's a lot of things you can do, but I'm just saying, hey, all you need is really a 32 gig card, format it FAT32, and you're good. It's very sensitive to having a fast enough SD card, and it can cause connection issues. The other connection issues are with regard to the way you update the firmware. When you're updating the flight controller firmware, Hubsan asks you, even if it is the same version, to also update the camera firmware. The way I understand it is that flight controller, when you upgrade it, it's looking for that camera firmware update. If it doesn't find it, it keeps pulling the SD card, which interrupts the drone and can cause dropouts. It did in my case, and I know there's people that dispute that, and they're way more technical than me. But all I know is what my experience was, and that solved that problem for me. And geez, I've had solid connections. The only time I can get it to disconnect is if I fly it straight above me. And if I guess if you want to fly your drone directly above your head, you might have some connection issues. There again, I'd say that's a very minor thing. Now, does the drone it is affected poorly in wind? Wind affects the drone. I was flying it today, and I took it to one spot, and I had some pretty big wind gusts, a pretty more scenic spot. I wanted to get some video, and it just was not possible. The wind, it was just blowing the drone around too much. So a couple of things about the drone. It has a barometer in it, but it does not have any kind of optical flow sensors. It does not have any other kind of obstacle avoidance. I saw a guy complaining on YouTube. He's flying his Zino down this trail, and there's trees on both sides, and he turns around and he complains because he flew it into a tree. He said that as he was turning, the drone rose and he turned it to a tree. You know what? I don't doubt that. I'm sure the drone rose. This is not a drone I would be flying through the trees. It is two things in the trees. You're going to have trouble with a GPS connection because it's going to block the GPS signal. And like I said, it does not have any kind of optical flow or any other sensors. So it just isn't going to be as stable a drone as one of the more expensive things like the DJI Mavic. That thing will just sit there solid as a rock. This Hubsan won't do that. Wasn't designed to do that. Never will do that. But there again, if you paid full retail, you paid $369 for it, as opposed to $1,200 for a Mavic. So then the one issue that I see that is really legit, and Hubsan has a problem with, is the camera. The people that are getting those pink and purple and green flashes on the camera, frames on the camera. Well, the reason you buy a photographic drone like this is to take some nice scenic video. And if you get those things, hey, it just ruins it for you. And if that happened on my Zino, I would be livid. And Kolsky Drones, who's a very respected drone reviewer, he posted an update on his, and he's done all the correct updates, the firmware updates, yet he still has that issue with his drone. So that's a problem, and Hubsan needs to address that. So, I absolutely understand, and I recommend you check out Kolsky Drones. He's got some really great reviews. He's an excellent reviewer, and he has a very legitimate complaint on the Zino. But I just think there's others that are just absolutely trashing this drone with the expectation that it's going to perform like a Mavic Pro or a Mavic Pro 2, and it just isn't. We paid a lot less for this drone. I feel like they packed a lot of technology into the thing for what we paid for it, and I'm having a blast with it. So, take those things into consideration if you're considering this drone. That I don't know why, but there are people that they feel like they have to. Well, I'm not going to go there, but I'm just going to say that it's not as bad of a product as some people make it out to be. I'll put it to you that way. And you know what? This is a fun sport. And you know what? Just go out and have fun with the thing. Are there people that have legitimate problems? I mean, are there people that have, the Wi-Fi module went out? I'm sure that there are. I don't think there's a product on Earth that doesn't have problems. Automobile manufacturers every once in a while will build a car with a bum engine. It happens. But I don't think it's as pervasive as what some people would have you believe. And it's, I just think it's an incredible value for what we paid for it. Oh, the other thing I wanted to add is the other criticism I've heard people talk about is all the updates. Well, it should be shipped with firmware that is good from the factory, and that's it. I can't think of one piece of technology I have that doesn't require a firmware update once in a while. DJI does. I just did one the other day that was a very extensive update that took a while. So that's just part of electronics. Your computer, every once in a while Microsoft updates the software in that. It's just how it is. They make improvements. And that's the other thing I'll say about Hubsan is that it seems to me that they have been listening to customer complaints and addressing them. And they're continually improving the camera and continually trying to improve the product. There again, I'm just going to remind you, you paid $369 for it. You didn't pay $1,500 for it. You paid $369. So anyway, like I said, I'm saying go and have fun with the thing. It's really a fun product, and you need to just focus on enjoying it. So, all of that said, this is Marcus Crawford, or Idaho Sledhead, as I'm known on my YouTube channel. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. And thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. And I promise you the next video will be more about flying drones than it is about what's going on in the community. Thank you very much for watching. See you on the next one.